Hello, everyone. The recording that we had tried to do during our session didn't upload, so this is a recording I'm doing that will be available for you for this training session. Our session's title is Paw Pads and Surfaces and More. So let's get started right away. I do have a slideshow that I would like to share with you, and let me pull that up. And hopefully, can you all see it okay? I think it should be visible, but I am going
Yes.
to maximize the screen so you can have a full screen for you. And our topic is paw pads and surfaces, which I feel is very important for your future leader dogs. So let's get started. Now, why do we teach paw pads and what is their purpose? Well, on this slide, I go over the purpose and the goal, but it's really straightforward and simple. You want to teach your puppies the correct body positioning, and they're also useful, the paw pads, for distraction training. So if you've got your puppy lined up in the correct left heel position, that builds a standard that is a foundation for when they come back to become guide dogs. It's also used for distraction training, and we've hit upon that a couple times during our last training sessions. Laura went over ground tethering. Melissa reviewed relaxation protocol. But for our puppies for this session, I'd like to introduce you to the Paw Pad, which is also useful. And lastly, we talk about our puppies a lot and how they should be doing and what we can help them. But the paw pad actually helps the raiser or the handler on delivering their treat effectively to the left side. So those are three reasons that this is a great tool to use. Now, what's your goal when you're using the paw pad? Well, the goal is simply that to get the front paws on the paw pad. That's your goal. But there's a but here. You want to do that without manipulating the dog's body, without using your leash as a steering to steer that puppy around. So you won't be doing it touching your puppy. I'll let you know with the directions what we are going to do it. So on this next slide, we have three items. The first is a bright blue, green squared, bright blue object. It's the climb. In the middle, we have the paw pad. It looks like a rectangle on a popsicle stick is what it comes to cross my mind. And on the left is a platform. Now, the platforms are more often used with our GDMI instructors and how they teach our dogs the curbs. I don't use the platforms that much. To me, I really like the paw pad because it gives me a small space that I can work in effectively with my dog, and it's easier for me. Now, these are all items that you could use. I would say you do not need to purchase these items. You can use things that are similar at home. I've used tables, I've used other rugs rolled up, I've used towels. You don't need to go out and purchase these. On page 39 of your puppy raiser manual, you also have instructions on how to use the paw pad and how to make your own. So you can go in there and make your own, because during these environments of shelter in place, it's hard to go out and it's hard to find things. And I'd rather you just stay home and use what you have and make it if you can. These pictures I've chosen because they illustrate one, the climb, which is on one end over here with a little puppy on a, it looks like a table. And for enrichment, we do put our climbs out and we just let the puppies explore, get on them, get off them. And it's an effective way to give your puppy confidence without being a part of that picture. They can just explore this item on their own. Now, the last two pictures on the other end are puppies working on the paw pad. There's two things I'd like you to note. One is that look how lovely their paws are. Their front paws are right on there. They're ready to go. And the second thing is look at the handler's leash. It's not giving any tension to the puppy's collar. It's held very gently. And I'd like to also point out that the razor on the end is ready to treat that puppy. She's getting down there about to give that puppy the treat. You can see she's got the treat and ready to go, about to give it. And this razor in the middle is giving the puppy a treat right on the paw pad right in front. So these are really cool pictures. I've used a lot of illustrations and videos throughout this slideshow, and this will help a lot. I wish I was there to help you. I wish our counselors were there to help you. But hopefully this will give some insight on how these different resources can help you, the Paw Pad, the Climb, and the platform. Now, some directions for utilizing the Paw Pad. These are taken straight from your Puppy Raiser manual. I hope you take the time to read that. And I've condensed them into just a few bullet points here. The first is be very aware of how your hands are. Your left hand is going to be loose and it's going to be on your side holding the leash. And your right hand is going to be the hand that delivers the treat. You're going to put a treat, a tasty treat, between your thumb and forefinger, and you're going to use it like a magnet, or what we like to call a lure. A lure is going to be placed right in front of your puppy's nose, and you're going to guide that puppy with that magnet lure to where you want the puppy to go. So you do not move that lure anywhere else. It stays right at your puppy's nose and mouth, and your puppy's going to follow it. If it's tasty enough, your puppy will follow it. And that's how you're going to get your puppy to put those front paws on the Paw Pad. Now, sometimes the puppy, not sometimes, a lot of times, the puppy's paws will go right over the Paw Pad. And that's okay. So you're like, Vijay, I used it and the puppy went right over. That's all right. Keep your lure in place and gently move it back, and the puppy will reverse. And the minute the paws hit the Paw Pad, mark and reward. So you're going to mark with yes and reward your puppy. It's extremely important to remember to keep your training sessions short. 2 to 4 minutes is plenty of time. You do not need to have longer sessions. Your puppies are doing a lot of mental work and they're doing a lot of physical work. They're trying to maneuver their bodies. They're trying to figure out what exactly is my raiser, my handler wanting right here. So it takes a lot of work. So 2 to 4 minutes is plenty of time. When they're done with that session with you, give them a break. And you can come back and do it again. They're fresh and they might surprise you. They might get their paws on that Paw Pad right away. Or it might take them a couple minutes or a couple seconds, but at least they'll be fresh and not as stressed and tired out. So those are just a couple of suggestions and directions. Excuse me. Now, I'd like to go over a few videos. I've chosen these because they demonstrate how different dogs get on those Paw Pads. Remember, I like the Paw Pad because it constrains the amount of area I am working in, and I feel more organized, and it's just easier to work with a less amount of space than to have a whole area. And it helps me reinforce that left heel position. So let's see how Bowman does. Bowman hasn't worked on these Paw Pads since he was 4 months, and he hasn't seen it in that long time either. So I'd like you to first watch Bowman, and sometimes it takes a couple seconds of lag time for the video. So in the video, you'll see that Bowman is really excited, and he comes and he sits in front, and then I take that treat and I put it right at his nose and I lure him back behind me. And then he gets it right. He puts his front paws on that Paw Pad and I mark yes. So let me play it one more time for you. And I hope you can notice how Bowman is so energetic and excited. He wants to just do it right away and he wants to do something. He's not really there. Okay, so that was Mr. Future Leader Dog Bowman. Now this next video is of my dog Griffin, and I've had Griffin since he was a puppy. He's 6 years old now, And he's my training partner. He's worked on so many training sessions with me that he's a pro. You'll see a little bit of difference here, a little bit more of polish when Griffin comes in. So let's watch this video. I do wobble, but Griffin holds steady. And in the back, apologize, we've got your dog home. It's not a wobbler, but okay, so for Griffin, you notice that he knew right away that I got to put these paws up. This is where I stand. And whether I tipped this way or that way, he was like, nope, this is what I got to do. And this comes from so many years of practicing. It's when he first saw that paw pad, he just did not know what to do with it. So I'm going to play Griffin. Right. So he did paw at the paw pad for that last mark that I did. And that's another behavior that he's learned to do is paw at something. So that wasn't what I was looking for, but you know what? He wanted to offer a behavior to see if he could get a treat for that too. But that was Mr. Griffin. For the next video, this is Inej. Inej is our adopted 4-year-old German Shepherd. She was career changed, and she worked on paw pads like all my puppies do in my basement where it's quiet and nobody can disturb us. And she has not been able to work on a paw pad, not because I didn't want her to, but I realized working outside that she just hasn't. She's watched me when I've taken the puppies in the backyard or in front of the house, but she herself has not worked on this paw pad since she was about 3-4 months. In the background, again, I apologize. Bowman likes to play with his Kong wobbler. If there's a lot of noise, I've tried to keep it minimal. But let's watch and see what Inej does. Oh, and one more thing. My videographer, my daughter, gets a little excited because we were first concerned that she might not get on the paw pad, so we weren't going to use the video. But she just got so excited, she has some verbal commentary, so apologies on that. So you see how excited she is because I told her, I said, we probably won't use it because she's probably going to want to run with it or do something else. But you can tell by these 3 videos that these dogs have been reinforced for this behavior for many a time. And the approach is always the same. We approach in a loose leash if we can. That is the desirable way. Wait for them to mark that paw going on there, and I say yes and give the treat. And with Bowman's case, he sat in front, and that's okay. I used a treat lure and got him back behind my leg and then lured him onto the paw pad. Okay, so the next thing I'd like to go over is that during this seclusion that we're all experiencing, some of us might not have a paw pad. And that's okay. We can make our own at home, as I mentioned earlier, on page 39 of your Puppy Raiser manual. We have instructions on the paw pad exercise, as well as instructions on how to make your own paw pad. So for this video, I've used a trail of different objects that I have at home that are substituting for a paw pad. So you can do that as well. If you don't want to make it or you don't have the items to make it and you can't get the items to make your paw pad, you can use items that are at home. What I would like is for you to be very cognizant of what you use. They have to be safe for your puppy. They have to be sturdy enough so when they put their paws on there, they don't shake, wobble, roll, or give in to your puppy's weight, because you want a good experience for your puppy. You don't want to set up an experience that's going to make your puppy later on in different environments anxious, nervous, or just give some avoidance behaviors. Excuse me. So when you pick up objects that you may have at home, be very aware that they are safe for your puppy and sturdy enough for your puppy. So let's see some objects that I picked up. Here we go. And I had to pause there because he was just so excited. He's, oh yeah. Now this one he kind of looks at and looks at me because it's different. He's never had to. So I get that treat out, try to get it to his nose, but then he's like, okay, I just got to put it. Now this book is a little bit similar to the Paw Pad because of its shape. So he got that a lot faster. Yeah. So for this video, you notice that the pan was something that he would never have expected. I use this pan because it's flatter and it's got the height of a paw pad, but I totally didn't realize that, hey, it's a circle. So that might come across as different. I've also used yoga mats rolled up tight. I've used rugs rolled up tight. I've used towels. But when you use those type of fabrics and materials, make sure they don't roll. Because again, you want to have a great experience for your puppy to build confidence, not tension, anxiety, or avoidance behaviors. Um, we don't want to re-see that. So that was a little bit about paw pads and how to approach them, how to get your puppy to put their front paws on the paw pad, and why we work on this exercise. To wrap up, I'd like to talk a little bit about surfaces. When I was a counselor at the correctional facility, something became very obvious that these razors do not have the environments to work on that I have. They don't have cobbled stone pathways. They don't have dirt and grass and cement. They might not have any, or they might have some of those. They also don't have certain grates or footings that they can freely go to, as well as stairs. So what I would do, I would bring in different surfaces that I made at home, and my family was wonderful. They helped me with these. And I would lay them down in a trail so these puppies in the prison could go over these surfaces and experiment. Because remember, our puppies love to explore. And that's why it's very important that we let them explore in a guided way so they don't have these bad experiences that impede them to get confident. So when we're going out with our puppies, we want to enrich their walks in the environment or at home and look for surfaces that are safe for them to explore with their little paws. Make sure that you do not use physical manipulation, and I repeat this again. Just because you think a puppy should explore a surface, it is not a reason to pull, yank, or bodily push the puppy onto that surface. Let them explore on their own. And by that, I mean give them time. Let them sniff. Let them come to it at their own pace. If they don't want to do it, that's fine. Just hang out where you're at and let them explore it. The next time they might go a little bit further and go on to that surface. And again, I want to reiterate, make these surfaces, whether you set it up or whether you're addressing them in the environment, safe for your puppy. Don't expose your puppy to something that could injure them or decrease their confidence in relaying to the environment around them. For this last video, I've laid out some surfaces at home. These surfaces are things that I had at home or that I had purchased from Home Depot. The first one is a piece of wood that's got a rubber textured matting on it. The second one is a rug or a mat that's fuzzy and it has some indentions on it. I also use it as a mat, so Bowman knows it for mat behavior. The third surface is a tile underlay. We did a project, my husband and my daughter did. I watched a project where we laid tiles, and this was the material that was underneath. So it's safe because it's rubbery, it's flat, there's no sharp edges around it. And the last piece of surfacing that I used was, again, it was something from Home Depot that I found that's a very thin, fine mesh with plastic underneath, so it's not going to harm the puppy. So let's watch this video. And I'd like you to note a couple of things. Sometimes I do treat in front, and it's not for anything other than I'm trying to give him the treat quickly. As I watched this video, I realized I should have treated a little bit closer to my left knee. The second thing I want you to be aware of is that he's taking his time. For some of these surfaces, he might smell more, but Bowman is taking his time. And the last thing I want you to notice is my leash hand. Some instances I have to hold really tight because he's so excited to move forward. But I want you to see that I try not to yank or jerk myself. The pulling is coming from Bowman. So let's watch this video. That's the first. And he's not that excited, but this is a surface he really, really likes because of all the smells. And the reason I dropped that treat there was because he's used it as a mat. And this is the treat placement I talked about. I did place it in the front, so I'm going to let you watch this one more time. So every time his paws would hit one of the surfaces, I would mark and reward because I'm marking for him to explore those surfaces. So now if Bowman was hesitant and he didn't want to go on the surface, my actions would be to just hang out there, let him see the surface, let him smell the surface, and then move on in a different direction. It's extremely important not to pull, push, or manipulate your puppies. I'm sorry, I don't have a puppy right now. Otherwise, we could see what their first reaction was. I'd like to thank you. I'm so sorry that this recording didn't record on our live session. There were some wonderful questions, and I think that it would have benefited if they were recorded. But let me see if I can come back on and stop sharing so you can see me. And just say that I apologize again for this session not being able to be recorded when it was on live, but I hope this benefits you. You can refer to it if you have any questions. Please contact your puppy counselors first and foremost. They're there for you. They're waiting for you. They're wonderful resources. And also, as always, if you need anything from any of us at Puppy Development, we're 3 coordinators. We're Zach. We've got Bev as our supervisor. Feel free to contact any of us, and we'll be more than happy to answer any of your questions. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful day.